So as you know, we join you every week right here on this station from 8 to 10 in the morning. And we like to really mix things up. But one thing that we love to focus on as often as possible is wine. And wine is one of those areas where, I mean, you have these sommeliers who get their a master of sommelier. There's only, what, like 100, 200 of those in the world. And it's a really difficult process to get that level of wine knowledge and tasting and all that kind of stuff. So it can make you feel
a little intimidating.
Very, intimidating when it comes to wine. And so during the holidays, you have a lot of people that either come over to your house or you're asked to bring a bottle of wine to something. So, well, what are you making?
Then you have wine anxiety.
Then you have wine anxiety. How much should I spend? And it's turkey or fish, or what are they serving? And, so I have to bring a bottle of white. Well, that might not be the case. We are turning to a wine expert right now, Jeremy Leffert. He is the winemaker at Hearst Ranch Winery. You can find them online at HearstRanchWinery.com. And welcome to the program. Thank you for being in studio, first of all.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yes. So you had to brave the wet roads.
Yeah, all quarter mile to get here.
Oh, good.
Very brave of you.
That is convenient. I'm so glad that you live in downtown SLO. That makes it super easy. So as a winemaker, what sort of questions do you get from people when it comes to pairing? Do they say about the whole white with poultry and fish, red with meats thing?
I think a lot of times, especially now, people are kind of moving away from that old rule of thumb.
Good.
And I think people are being a little more adventurous and trying to just figure it out on their own. And that's kind of my background on how I did it, because I wasn't classically trained in pairing food with wine.
I've always thought that it had more to do with the spice level of the food. So if you've got, Cajun blackened sole or something, it's fish, but the spices are so overwhelming, you're going to need a big wine to go with that.
Right. And, in a case like that, with heavy spicy foods like Cajun dishes and everything, I think wines with high acid and sometimes a little bit of residual sugar really work well.
Yeah.
But then beyond the spice factor, you have, whether it's red meat or white meat, that's going to make you decide, what kind of a tannin wine you want, whether it's a cab or something a little leaner like a Pinot Noir.
Now, it doesn't say these things on the label. Well, I mean, in some cases it does, but how do you
some
know?
of them do.
Right.
Well, so since we have a wine expert here, let's ask him. Everyone's planning. Well, not everyone, but lots of people are planning their big Thanksgiving meal. So, do you have some pointers, some advice for us when we're planning our turkey dinner? What would you do?
Well, here's what I'll do this year. But let me preface it by saying Thanksgiving is always a challenging meal to pair with wines, because there's just a cornucopia of flavors going on.
Yeah.
And you've got your turkey and then all the fixings that go along with it. Sometimes it's hard to find one wine that'll go with all of it.
Right.
And some people may be opposed to having 6 different wines in front of them.
And some are not. Some are not.
So typically I like to have nice spicy Tempranillos or Cabernet Francs for reds with Thanksgiving. And as far as whites, either, Chardonnay or maybe even Riesling.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And the Riesling, now, what about like pre-dinner, post-dinner? With the Riesling, where would that fit in?
Well, Riesling can actually work throughout the whole meal. And, I always start off when we're in the kitchen with bubbles.
Thank you.
Oh,
yes.
Saint, I'm sorry, we share that tradition.
Right.
Yeah.
Why not start with champagne, right?
Always.
I feel like champagne or sparkling wine in California's case, it somehow got put on this pedestal that you only have it for special occasions, but
big glamorous,
right? But
occasions.
We've broken that rule every single week here at Drink and Flow Radio. We are big bubble fans.
Well, isn't every day a special occasion?
Right. If you wake up, it's a special occasion.
Yeah.
I like. Right. I like to.
And that is Randall's approach.
That is that is the way that I go about it. Okay, so the wines at Hearst Ranch. You just mentioned a number of different, the Franc and stuff. What do you specialize in? What would, if somebody
Give us
asked
some
you,
specifics.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happens that we make 3 of the 4 that I mentioned.
Well, that works out well.
Yeah. And some of the listeners may know Hearst Ranch Winery is relatively a new project that was started by Steve Hearst and Jim Saunders, both very creative and successful men who had the dream to do this.
Yeah.
And that was 3 years ago, and we have 12 varieties we're making right now. And locally, the buzz with Hearst Ranch is kind of about our Malbec and Tempranillo right now.
Oh, okay.
Those are both estate grown in Paso Robles. And we're on the 2010 Tempranillo right now, which is probably what my family's going to be drinking this Thanksgiving.
Malbec's sort of an up-and-comer, isn't it? I mean, that's sort of the next, Pinot or the next Zinfandel.
Yeah. Well, a lot of young people are starting to explore Malbec, primarily because it's very accessible on the wallet. With South American Malbecs, you can get these great wines for $8-9, which
that's an incentive.
Is very competitive.
Right.
That's an incentive.
And that's what did it for, let's see, what do they call it? What's the wine that is called one thing in Australia and one other thing here?
Oh, the Syrah or Shiraz.
Oh, Shiraz and Syrah. That is sort of what gave that its
the
big
price
boost,
point.
right? Was the price point coming out of Australia?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a slightly off topic because I know we're talking about specific wines and what you're going to drink them with. But what's your background in winemaking? How'd you get to the Hearst Ranch?
In a galaxy far, far away. I moved to California in 2004 from Vermont and started working at Trader Joe's in Santa Barbara.
Oh, okay.
And really had no background in wine, and we had these in-store wine tastings, and everyone was swirling it and sipping it and everything. And it was kind of fascinating to me, and I went on a tasting trip to Santa Ynez, and had never really seen a vineyard before, and saw the fruit out there, and was just fascinated by the whole process and, the winery themselves. And I started, spending my savings on viticulture textbooks and was starting to educate myself a little bit. And one day my mom handed me a stack of paperwork, which is, basically saying, Jeremy, go get your master's in viticulture.
Yeah, go do it.
At Cal Poly. And I was amazed. I was like, you can study wine at school?
School for this.
Cool. Right. And at the time, I was only focused in the vineyard, and I wanted to make sure I was making the right decision. So I took a cellar position at One Harvest at another Zinfandel producer in Paso Robles.
I love Zins.
And that's where I met my current boss, Jim Saunders, the owner and partner of Hearst Ranch Winery. Yeah. And then the following spring, he brought me in to help work in the vineyard before there was a winery. And one day, I come to work, and there's, an excavator and a D3, bulldozer. And
You're like,
I said, what's going on, Jim? He says, we're building a winery. And I said, cool.
Can I be part?
Yeah. Yes. He's like, do you want to help? And then the rest was history. We started out with 1,400 cases, 7 wines, and believe it or not, we're up to 15,000 cases and 12 wines.
Well, it's not a name people are unfamiliar with. I mean, Hearst has a little ring in
little
California. Right now, Steve Hearst, he's behind the big Hearst Ranch grass-fed beef, right?
Absolutely.
And that has really taken off coast to coast.
Yeah.
And so this is his next project. I haven't tried a Hearst Ranch wine yet, but I plan to.
Well, I have family coming in for Thanksgiving. Where do you think they want to go this weekend?
Wine
Any
tasting?
guesses? Well, Randall,
Hearst
yes.
Oh, they want to go to Hearst Castle. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Hello, they're
Right.
tourists.
Patty's been to Hearst Castle enough times that
I've lost track, 19 or 20, I don't know. Every time we have family, can we go to Hearst Castle?
you could give the tours, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, so where are the vineyards located?
Well, we
for the
farm.
grapes.
We have a 60-acre estate, which is in Paso Robles, which is where we farm Petit Verdot, Petit Syrah, Malbec, Tempranillo, and Syrah.
Okay.
And the rest of the grapes we source from some other vineyards that we farm in the Paso Robles area. And the only wine right now that's out of appellation is our Chardonnay, which we source from Monterey County.
And the tasting room is there almost to San Miguel, right?
No, the tasting room, believe it or not, is right across the street from Hearst Castle in
Oh.
Sebastian's General Store, which is
That's what I was thinking.
perhaps the oldest general store in California.
So-
It used to supply miners and fishermen and hunters.
So then, Randall, yes, we will be wine tasting if it's right across from the castle.
Yeah, come on up. It's a really cute historic building.
What a great tie-in like that, because you already have people that are fascinated with the castle. That's why they're there.
Yeah.
And then you see the Hearst name associated with a winery and get to tie all these California things together.
And the beef, and
And the beef.
It's a branding. It's a miracle.
It really
You
is.
know?
It's brilliant. The Hearst family has always been good at that, and so they're carrying it on now. And so, price point wise, when people, we have about a minute left here. When people are thinking of having a dinner party of 20 or so, the average person, about how much should they be spending per bottle during the holidays? What's a good price? I know that's a hard one. But
Yeah, it really depends. And
like
depends.
upper teens?
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point. And,
Yeah.
for California wines, you're going to want to be above 20, I think, a lot of times.
Yeah.
But if you're going overseas, like Spanish wines, a lot of great value can be found in Spain for $8, $9, $10.
They're delicious, but we don't recommend that.
Right.
Just FYI. Okay, Jeremy Leffert, you're coming back. I mean, not after the break or anything, but in the days
Randall
to come.
says
I'd
you're
love to.
coming back.
Jeremy Leffert, winemaker at Hearst Ranch Winery. Learn more at HearstRanchWinery.com. It's that easy. Stick around, everyone. We're talking ski season right after this. You're listening to the Eat, Drink, Explore Radio Network.